Hello, this is Christine Deane, your DFW Networking Diva, connecting you to who and what and the resources that you want to know. And I'm excited today. We have another person who's going to share their wisdom with us. And I love when that happens because we like to, as entrepreneurs, business owners, right? We're always trying to learn, grow, because if you're not, your business isn't going to be very successful. So we always want to learn new things. So that being the case, before I forget, let me be sure to let you know that our sponsor today is My B2B Network. So I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for sponsoring this show. It's a digitalized marketplace. Not only makes your outsourcing seamless, but also excels in generating highly qualified leads. So to explore more about how My B2B Network can benefit your business, visit www.myb2bnetwork.com. Thank you so much. But we're really excited today because what we're going to talk about is one of my favorite things. You're going to laugh at me, but it's CRMs. I know it sounds techie, it sounds nerdy, but we are bringing in one of my favorite people when it comes to CRMs, Mark Mondo, founder of Mondo CRM, and he's going to share some wisdom with us. So thank you so much for coming to join us today, Mark.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Because I nerd out on this kind of stuff.
You should.
I can't help it. People are like, I've talked to business owners, they're starting out their business. I'm like, you need a CRM. And then I talk to them 6 months later. Did you get a CRM? No. Okay, well, stop it. Even with prospecting, right? You're leading all your leads just fall through the cracks and run away. So it drives me nuts. You need a CRM. If you are in business to make money, and I'm assuming everybody is, you need a CRM.
Yeah, I mean, Excel won't cut it.
No, it won't. That's old school, seriously old school. And it doesn't necessarily tie into everything you want to. You want something that's going to be easy to use and does what you need to do in order to be successful in your business. CRM is it. If you do not have a CRM, then I don't know what to tell you, man. You might as well just, close the doors and walk away now because your business isn't going anywhere.
No, it'll only scale as far as what you can remember in your head.
Exactly. And that's where you run into problems because you really go like, I can remember. Well, you can never scale it because nobody else can pull the stuff out of your head and hand it to the next person you're going to bring in as an assistant, even if it's a virtual assistant, someone to give you a hand, another salesperson. It's all in your head. That doesn't do us any good, right? You got to get it out there. And that's what your CRM does. Right. So how did you get involved in the CRM space, Mark?
This is all right. We're going to go on the way back machine to 1980.
Time warp. Okay.
DOS. Think DOS. 286 is 386.
Oh, you're killing me. All right.
My family had a CAD service bureau. AutoCAD was still really, really new. And my family was starting a business. And they said, and my dad was a sales guy by trade. And he went to the computer store and bought this product called ACT. And it was in DOS. I mean, does the audience know DOS is?
It depends on how old they are, because we may have dated ourselves. The fact that we know what that means.
Okay, so there's no internet didn't exist as we needed it, as we know it today. It was an isolated computer. It was on floppy disks. If this little icon, the kids have to look up there and know what the save icon is. They're real disks. So my job was and I was just graduating high school. I just graduated high school, and he said, "Here's a bunch of disks. Go figure it out." Go install the software, and we built a database. And what ACT was really innovative it was the first in its category in 1987. So this is the first in the category. It invented an industry. So what we wound up doing is making the database customized for CAD Service Bureau. So that was computer-aided design and drafting. So we were selling, hey, somebody had drawings on blueprints, but you had to turn them digital. So he sold the service to do that. Or, hey, you put everything in AutoCAD, so everything was digital. Then you put it, we sold the service to put it on paper or Mylar film to ensure that it was digitized going forward. Again, this is the late 80s. So this was really the cutting edge.
So you've been involved in this way back when.
Way back machine, that is correct. And then cut about 10 years later, my friend recruited me to start another company that would sell video editing software on the PCs. Again, we were on the cutting edge. What you have in your iPhone and TikTok and Cap Clip, whatever they call that, we were doing this stuff in DOS, and they made a graphical user interface out of DOS, and we were cutting motion pictures with the DOS machine. And this was, again, internet was just coming around as reference, and you were able to cut motion pictures on a computer versus going tape to tape. So I was in that industry, and I was trying to sell those workstations and the multimedia.
All right, now even tape to tape is still what?
Yeah, exactly. So we're replacing this. So I was on the cutting edge there. And when I was selling those workstations, my friend came up to me and said, you could use this as a side hustle. And he kind of said in his own way, like, you might be too far ahead of this, and your salaries are going to be too very feast or famine, because they're $50,000 machines, and you weren't making any money between those sales. So I wound up being a consultant for a product called ACT, and I was in every box of software that was printed starting in the late 90s. Again,
because that's back in the day, right, where you bought software at the store in a box, right? Yes. You would take it home, or you would mail order it to yourself, right? So yes. Those days, so when you were in the box, you literally were in the box.
Yes. So my reputation was built because I was one of the few experts, and we went for, it wasn't just sign up as one. I went to training I lived in Atlanta, and we went to Eugene, Oregon, and the company was called Symantec. They're still around. They do a lot of computer security now more, but they had classes, and we sat there for 5 days, and we had to learn how to really do this, not just add a couple fields, but true database administration, data migrations, and how to take the data. And this is, again, before the internet was really effective. That you had, let's say you had 2 databases in remote offices. You had to sync it, like syncing your iTunes, but it was really difficult and really cutting edge back then. So we made a living helping people with that.
So what you're saying is, from the Wayback Machine, is how the CRMs, how they're working, and what's behind them, and why they do what they do. So you really understand CRMs.
Yes, we have to understand sales business process. That is the other key to this. Anybody can install software. Well, anybody can install software now, and there's not even software to install with the cloud. You just sign up a login, and there's your instance.
Right.
The challenge is, what we excelled in was I've worked with hundreds of different types of companies, whether you manufacture beverages, or you're a virtual assistant, or I'm working with a company that sells commercial trucks. They all have a business process they're trying to make better. And what I do is I take that business process and translate it from the boardroom to the geek room. And then we wind up showing people how to make CRM effective. And it's not just a login and a Rolodex with a bunch of names on it.
Right. And that's really what it is people are like, okay, you said I had to have a CRM. Now I have one, and I don't know what to do with it. Right. How does this translate to my business goals? How does this translate to my sales process, my marketing process? Right. They don't understand how that all ties together. So when you bring in an expert that understands CRMs, what a difference that makes. Right. Tell us a little bit more. Let's pull up some slides. I know you had some slides for us. Sure. Talk a little bit more about your business and what you do for us.
All right. So you got the big eye there. So let's go from the eyeball to some numbers. So we've been around a while. I started in 97. That was the Y2K stuff. I worked with over 600 clients with over 400 custom builds. Our customers stick around. I mean, we've had customers since 2007. I work with a platform agnostic. So we're not just one product. We're really good at a few products. And I've done this in the U.S. and about a year ago, I opened up a satellite office in the UK. Thus, it's 2 continents. And of course, every IT guy has to know Star Trek. So that's part of our industry statistics. So why are you going to do this? Why would you do this at all? Is if you can't deliver a great experience, if you don't know anything about them, how can you deliver a great experience? And I think one of the things that we're noticing is you got to keep with what you have. New business development. Oh, heck yeah, it's critical. But if you're not keeping who you have happy, that's going to kill you. And they don't tell you if they leave. They just, they're out.
Silently disappear, right? So,
and that costs you that much more money, because it costs, I think, was it 7 times more to get new business than to satisfy your existing. So
absolutely. It's a lot more expensive to acquire new business than to keep what you currently have.
Yes. So my company has evolved from just Mac for DOS into the cloud. So to visualize this from the non-technical standpoint, we see CRM as using an anatomy metaphor. Is the data has got to be somewhere. So we use that as the heart, and and the rest of the data can transfer among different departments. So you can move the CRM data into a product like QuickBooks or Xero or Zoho Books. The salespeople got to still sell, so you take that same data and move it to the salesperson. But then marketing could be adversarial, or they have different agendas. But if the marketing people update the data, or if the salespeople update the data properly, marketing can send more mailings out or send do the best at their trade shows. And then with the legs, production and service, if you take that same data and give it to your hardware support department or your technical support department, they have the same data and they can update the data as well. So everybody sees you're singing to the same sheet of music.
Absolutely. And the CRMs now, they have a lot of different types, right? And so the integrations, like you said, does it go to your QuickBooks? Does it go to wherever you need, right? What does it connect with? So the integrations are really important when it comes to your CRMs. And sometimes you have an all-in-one kind of CRMs, and I know that's one of the ones I use is Go High Level. So there's a lot of different options out there.
The last check, yeah, hundreds probably, and a lot of nonprofits will have a unique niche. Or I saw one for funeral homes. I just happened to stumble upon that, and nonprofit is its own category.
Oh, it is. Having been in some of those, I was kind of disappointed that a lot of them weren't as well developed on the marketing side as I would expect them to be. So that kind of surprised me. Depends on the CRM, of course. Yeah.
Right. And then so what they'll start doing, and we won't go down the technical rabbit holes. You stop me if I do. These systems will start integrating. The audience may hear about products like Zapier or Zoho Flow, or the products are starting to talk to other products, and the clients are expecting it. Well, it should just talk to each other. So you're going to start seeing, when you evaluate whatever CRM platform is good for you, does it integrate with the rest of the universe, or how can it integrate with the rest of the universe? And that's what you'll start seeing. So what we hope for is when we're building that CRM, you want to make sure, right out of the box, the software doesn't know your process. It doesn't know everything about you. It's just going to put names, email addresses, and a place for notes, right? So a lot of people will act as any CRM as an awesome Rolodex. Names, numbers. Hey, you got something, right? So when I go see somebody in the field, I look them up, like, God, who was that person's name again? And I've done that a couple of times, like, oh, I can't remember their name. Then I walk into the networking event and I remember everybody's name. And then I have my notes about why we met and what's important to them.
Right. And the CRM is a great way to keep track of those notes of, on this date talked about this, on this date did that, right? And it kind of keeps you a history of your communications with that person. It just makes it that much easier to remember things because you can't keep it all in your head, right? Hopefully you're doing enough business that you can't keep it all in your head.
That too, and it's really hard to scale, and then can that company, if your exit strategy, now for some people, hey, this company's my life, it's going to be there to the end. That's cool. No worries on that. If you're thinking about taking that company, you got, I want to have 5 salespeople or a team of 10, and I want to sell that business eventually, or I want to not do everything. You got to have a process. You got to have a process. And, that's the CRM helps you create, we call the 360 view. So that same data can be, I visualize the data a little differently here. So the data can be seen among all departments and different applications.
Well, and you mentioned scaling. I've got a client, for example, that's going to planning on franchising, right? So everything we're doing has to be a system and process that is repeatable. And the idea is to be able to go in and duplicate that whole system in your CRM that's an all-in-one, and be able to put the new, franchisee on there, and they start doing their lead gen with their contacts, and they've got all the campaigns ready to roll. They've got everything set up, right? So scalable seriously is a big part of this. So anybody who's thinking about franchising or turning their business to a franchise, right? This is something that comes with that.
Because the franchise or franchisee wants a business in a box.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So
bringing in business partners,
yeah,
all that kind of stuff. You need a well-organized CRM. Absolutely. Yep. So you actually get in there and help them figure out what are their business goals, and then how does that translate in the CRM world? Is that right?
Yes. So what is your mainly matching your sales process? Mostly it's salespeople saying, I got this really crazy bespoke process of meaning custom. How do I translate that? And how do I make a pipeline work? What's in my pipeline? How do you know what's in your pipeline? How do you share that? with people. So one use case we're doing right now is for a commercial truck guy. He wants to know, he's got 13 people to track and he needs a report. Well, how many new deals did they create each week? And we're going to set it up so we have something called Microsoft Power BI, talking to Act. And what we're going to do is he's going to just have a dashboard with Power BI, and every week it will automatically pull by date range, because he wants it by date range. Days 1 through this, right? 7 through 12. How many of these did he do? Then he wants to track targets. So you got it. If you have 10 new contacts to make and you only made 2, you want it to automatically calculate 20%. So that's another goal, CRM. Instead of you taking that same data and like, oh, I gotta throw that into Excel, or worse, even worse, the sales rep has to do that themselves. They're not going to do it. Right. So they're going to one or the other. They're not going to do both. They're not going to either keep up the CRM, or they're just going to do the spreadsheet at the end of the week, and you're not going to get the metrics that you want.
Right. And metrics, that's a great point. So your CRM really helps you dial down on your numbers. Yes. And seeing what's gone out, how many people have we talked to, how many, right? Keep track of all the phone calls, whatever it is all inside your CRM. Because until you look at your numbers, you don't know what's working and what's not, right?
It's like having an accounting system without ledgers.
There you go. Exactly.
So one example could be when it comes to taking all this data, we've talked about all this big process. One thing we could think about is just marketing. I'm working, one example, easy use case is a home inspector. And he wants to track realtors, end users, lawyers, general contractors. And they're all in different stages of life dealing with him. So what we did, and again, very simple CRM. It's essentially Google Contacts talking to Constant Contact. And I just helped him set up an automated process to pull that data in. Actually, it's part of Constant Contact. It's just showing people what to do for that last mile. And then now, as he brings in contacts from his card scanner, he scans them, categorizes them in Google Contacts, and we can move that data over. It'll move that data. And then no matter which part of the customer life cycle they're in or customer journey, he can send targeted marketing messages only to people that care. If you're a realtor, why would you care about what a lawyer wants to hear?
Right.
So that's an example of how CRM can be used.
Right. CRM, the big thing I always remind my clients is about the importance of segmenting your audience. Because like you said, not everybody's interested in everything, right? If you have multiple services or multiple products, it's really putting them in the niche that exactly meets their needs and what's going to sing to them and what they want to hear about. Because if not, unsubscribe is their favorite click in the email, right? So
boring. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So if you keep them with information, you're only sending them information they would be interested in, they're less likely to unsubscribe.
Yep. So one of the metrics, sorry about my little graphic there, I got crushed in the PowerPoint in the last second, but email works. And people might say, yeah, there's social media. I think that's still there. I think that's getting that really big top of funnel stuff. I'm not dismissing it. This is obviously social media being used, but emails, like once you get that next level of trust. Once you have that next level of trust, email, we won't get into the nerdy platforms and which one's the best, but you got to have something that either people have opted in or you've had a legit conversation with. And then the stuff is really inexpensive. I mean, there's hundreds out there. I'm not, choose your weapon, and it's effective. I mean, if email starts at like $10 a month, 36, these are
depending on the system you want to use. Yeah, I've got favorites too. A lot of times I'll send my clients to Flowdesk. It's $19 for the first year, and then it goes up to like $39, I think, for unlimited emails, unlimited contacts. And so that's really nice. When you get some of the other ones, they're kind of expensive, right?
Yep. No, it's very reasonable. Also, SMS is becoming a trend. The statistics I had is like 98% will read within 2 hours. But you got to get real trust in that for an SMS reminder or an SMS. Right. So it's coming up. I think it's going to be really important in the B2C market for those out there in the audience, especially if you're let's say you're a mortgage professional. I'm working with a mortgage professional. That'll be coming up in one of our case study here. So what he wants to do is, because he wanted to stop dorking around with IT stuff, and he lives in Norway half the year. He's out of Maryland. but it's like, I want to go work in Norway too and hang out with my wife's family. So we just put it on a cloud server instead of him managing it in his own office. So he can do all his mortgage work while he's in Norway. And what he's trying to do is build a database of consumers that go on their website and, hey, I want my rates. So if he has a new notification, I want to send it by not only by email, but he said in his market, because it's consumer based, they're only reading text messages.
Right. And the text messages, like you said, have a high open rate. I also know restaurants have a lot of success with those also.
Yes.
So, there's certain things that certain industries, right, that we really like text messages. We don't mind, hey, you're going to tell me it's half off on pizza tonight. You got my attention. Send me that message. Yeah. Right. We love that kind of stuff. So
it's got to be really targeted and really trusted and really relevant. And I think that, because it's compliance that you have to have stop in your messages, and that's it. They're out of your list. So
absolutely. Yeah. So like you said, compliant will take care of a lot of problems, right? So if they don't like you, boom, you want to make sure you're sending something they want to hear about.
Know you, like you, and trust you. So yeah, we've taken the same data and the same CRM platform. We've adapted it from email, and without upgrading the entire software platform, I did some code in the back end. He didn't have to think about it. He just told me what he wanted, and we've automated the process. So every time he gets a phone number in there, it will automatically set up a second field. So let's say his mobile number's, 527-3133. It'll automatically make it a second field with the SMS friendly version of that. And it puts it through, it makes it automatic and friendly. So he doesn't have to think about that either. So his administration time, he can focus on sales.
Absolutely.
So, I think you've talked about a lot of products out there. There's tons. Choose your weapon. We have a lot, but would you use Flowdesk? I mean, stuff I've even heard.
I love Flowdesk for email. I love Go High Level for CRMs. I mean, there's a lot of different and I've used a lot more than that, right? I see you got Zoho on there, which can be quite a beast. It's a big one. Constant Contact, MailChimp, right? There's a lot of different options when it comes. So you got to look at, what are you currently using? What does it tie in? I always say start with your CRM, because if you love your CRM, you can add other pieces to it as needed. And I kind of look at, like you said, the CRM being the heart of it. So if you like your CRM, you can usually find something else that'll work with it, right?
Yeah, and I think another thing I tell the audience, I mean, whether you don't necessarily have to hire me first, it'd be great, but look, just get started on something.
Right.
The prices have gone down from my origin story of DOS, and it cost, X $100, and you got to bring a consultant because they got to install the software and put a SQL server in house, and you got to build a Windows server just to get things working. Those days are done. One of the Zoho products out there, it starts at like $9 a month.
Right.
I mean, that's like 2 Starbucks. That's like a unit of currency I use. How many Starbucks does it cost?
How much coffee do I have to give up in order to afford this? Got it.
Two Starbucks. That's not bad.
That's not bad. And it's worth it just to get organized in your business. Really, CRM is all about organizing your business and keeping it on track. So Mondo, if they want help and they say, you know what, I've got a CRM, or I've been wanting to start a CRM, I'm not sure what to do with it. I know you offer consultations. You can go in there and actually do it with them. So if they want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Oh, the easy ways are, of course, my deck here that I put up at the last second had a little typo. You can use me on the phone, the old school phone, 312-527-3133. There's my email address, and my website is mondocrm.com. If you're in the UK, we have a UK satellite office as well. So I'm up about in UK time about 1 p.m. But our support, we have support there, and sales representation is there as well. And we also offer a complimentary meeting. Just on our website, you find a button that says schedule a call. It books it. Hey, we use CRM for that too. So it allows everybody to make it easy to talk to us.
That's awesome, because really CRMs can feel a little technical, a little overwhelming for people that have not played in that space before, whether they're a new business owner or small business owner. Sometimes that's just like they're kind of makes them nervous, right? Because they haven't
Yep.
been there before. So it's nice to have somebody who can take you by the hand and walk you along with it. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So that's it for another episode of DFW Networking Diva. Christine Deane, connecting you with who you want to know. Those resources, we try and introduce you to fantastic people like Mark Mondo and others that can come help you with your business, your entrepreneur journeys. And that's what we do. Once again, thank you to My B2B Network, who is a sponsor of this show. So if you want to find out more about lead gen, we say reach out to My B2B Network. And that's it. Christine Deane signing off. Y'all have a fantastic